Good morning and welcome to Bright 2021. I am thrilled to welcome you to this first session, the CAST Investment Forum. I've personally been part of the CAST Investment Forum a few times before, so I can tell you, you're in for a treat. And to guide us through today, we have Juliane Schulze, partner of CAST and also board member of Media Deals. Juliane, the floor is all yours.
Super, thank you so much, Caroline. A very warm welcome. Literally speaking, we are approaching 32 degrees in Berlin, so it's a really warm welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being with us at the final CAST Investment Forum. And before I get all excited and taking away, so to speak, I pass on to our lead partner, Westbig, and our dear project leader, Elena Dean, to give you the context. Elena, the floor and the microphone are yours.
Thank you, Juliana. It's a pleasure to welcome everybody this morning, and thank you to our host, the Creative Business Network, for having us and hosting us. As you know, the CAST project has been looking for the past 3 years at supporting startups in the sustainable tourism space, and we are delighted to have startups pitching this morning and an exciting investor panel with us. I will not spend or take away too much time except to say thank you to everybody, the whole team making today possible. It has been 3 years of working, and the startups have been working really hard preparing for today. So I wish everybody the best of luck with their pitches today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elena. And before we get into the pitches, everybody is waiting for, of course, we are happy to welcome Alessandra Priante, who is the Director Europe of the World Tourism Organization. And before she says anything, I want to express our enormous gratitude to the great support of the UNWTO, and particularly her engagement, because she made it possible that we were able to collaborate. And she will now give us an impulse, an intro, and share with us her views, perspectives, and insights between the third wave that seems to come to an end in this pandemic and an expected fourth wave, which holds probably some surprises for us. So it's a great pleasure to welcome Alessandra, and Alessandra, be so kind to unmute yourself and give us your insights and share with you your views on how the sector is going, how the recovery phase will look like, and what you are personally and as an organization pushing forward to. Alessandra.
Thank you so much, my dear Juliane. I mean, it's a pleasure for me to be here, and it's of course absolutely compulsory every time you engage with me to listen to you, to follow you, to support you, because you and CAST have been leading the way, and also in both our previous lives, we've been making some innovations. So for me, it was an absolute delight to find you again in this path where I'm now leading the UN for the region Europe. I have to be honest with you, I think what you're doing here and what we're doing now with Bright is a very important and probably even more than we realize effort. Because what we're doing is we are somehow designing the future, we're empowering ideas, and we're building and reconstructing trust and confidence. I don't want to talk about third wave. For me, the only wave possible is the renovation, the restarting, the recovery wave. This is the only wave I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about variants. The only variant I want to see is in some, trigonometric analysis or some other type of, alternative of a restart marketing plan for the whole world. We have been, with the tourism sector and beyond, we have been heavily affected, in the sense that we are not only with tourism affecting the current or the past activities, because obviously if you shut the shop, nobody sells, this is clear. But we've also been affected in our spirit, and in our creative thinking, because we have been deprived of opportunities, of vision, of visibility of the future. So what you're doing here and what we're all doing here with Bright and through the initiatives of CAST, we're making sure that this creativity is reactivated, if stopped, that trust is boosted, and confidence reaches its peak. If there's a moment where we need to all come together for this action, the moment is now. When everybody needs us, when everybody needs to think positively about the future, and everybody needs to really overlook at what are the possibilities out there. And this generation, not only the young generation, but also I would say our generation recycled, if you allow me the word, is exactly what is needed, because we really need to step up and think larger than us, larger than our own country, larger than our own region, and really think that now we have the chance. And if we don't make it right this time, it means we were really idiotic, and we can all lock ourselves back into the houses with our mobile phones and, watch tons of Netflix series, but then don't complain about the fact that we're not influencing the way the future goes. So having said this, I want to disrupt, you know me a little bit, Juliana, so you know how how unconventional I am in speeches and in the way that I interact with the world. So I really want to break the ground a little bit, because I want to share with you what I normally share in our conversations in the world, because I want you to look at what the future has to start from. We've lost 81% of our international tourism arrival, which means, in other words, that basically we have nothing left really, because we were over 1 billion tourism numbers, and now we've lost that 1 billion. And so now we need to restart macroeconomically. This is the damage that was done. And this is an underestimate. And out of this, 70 million were only in the region of Europe when it comes to jobs lost. And when it comes to an impact on GDPs and international tourism receipts. Obviously, what's really at risk, Juliana, as I was mentioning before, our creativity, our hopes for the future, but mostly our efforts to help those of us who are underdeveloped, who are needing more assistance from us, who want a leadership, which is also creative leadership. Obviously, all the plans that we had to make our planet better are now at the moment a little bit halted, because people are saying, wait, I need to survive. So, I need to get those numbers a little bit back if I want to think about the future. That's why innovations, solutions, and digital transformation, also impacting through education and jobs, is what is needed, because that is like the magic ingredient that would allow us to continue looking creatively and really effectively at the future. So that's why we're now with UNWTO at a forecast moment, which we've always had, but now the forecasts are really what we want everybody to look at, because what we're saying is, guys, we need to step it up for that coordinated effort. So we mainly speak to politicians in this case, and we say we need that coordination. Without that coordination, we're still talking bilateral. We're still talking about, oh, I'm going to be open for 3 months, but maybe I shut because there's the Delta variant. We cannot be under this sanitary, let's say, continuous threat, because it means we're never going to live anymore. And we do think that progress in every field is enough to guarantee us that we need to continue living whilst dealing with very important and disruptive events. Could be a pandemic. A few years ago was terrorism, and then there was some climate change impacts or some eruptions of volcanoes and stuff. We will always be subject to emergency. Obviously, when you have a pandemic, it means that it's something that we need to deal with globally, but globally means that we need to do it together. So for us, the togetherness in this moment is absolutely fundamental. So having said this, Juliana, I would like to stop sharing my screen, because I don't want to take too much time of this important morning, but I needed to set the ground to say that whatever we're looking at, we're not looking at something small, we're looking at something big. So therefore, even us all together with this innovation network, we need to be ready to hold hands. And there's no competition between or among any of you. There's really the need to really stand together and to find complementary solutions, to find a way of communicating with one another so that when we address the problem, we do it holding hands. And therefore, at least we're able to find a solution, which is a shared solution. So thank you very much, Juliane, for this opportunity. I'll be looking forward to listening to everybody this morning. And of course, I'm at your disposal anytime.
Fantastic, Alessandra. Thank you so much. I think we feel the energy, and we like to take this energy in a very short introduction round in which the investors please remind everybody in the room who is who, and be so kind to maybe in 2 or 3 sentences to summarize who you are, what fund or investment perspective you are representing, and what you are doing currently in the context of investing. So I would like to start according to the way you appear on my screen. So let me see, who's first? Yuri, you are first.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Juliane, for giving me this opportunity to speak first. My name is Yuri Giacomelli, and I actually am right there where the photo behind my back actually indicates, which is I'm south working on the northern shore of the Istrian Peninsula. So I am overlooking the Gulf of Trieste here, and I'm an entrepreneur, manager by profession. And there's some experience. I'm a portfolio manager of Meta Ingenium, a venture capital fund, and at the same time, I'm also engaged with with the preparation of a new venture with the same management company, which is Meta Ventures. And we are actually looking for investments into sustainable and possible with circular business models, at least emerging, and with some significant circular potential. So when we think about what could be a viable investment, of course, today we are somehow puzzled because so many factors have been changing, not just because of the pandemic, but definitely the pandemic has set in front of us 2 important challenges. One is, of course, the challenge of resilience. The other one is perhaps the acceleration of the overall awareness by consumers at large, and also, of course, travelers and consumers in terms of the tourism sector. So in order to see where the industry has been going, and in order to identify potential targets that can satisfy this criterion of, let's say, of business model innovation towards, a higher degree of circularity, or at least those who can at the same time demonstrate sufficient resilience, and also can fulfill the criteria of sustainability. I would outline 3 main drivers, or 3 main groups of drivers.
Yuri, sorry for interrupting you. This is a very short introduction round.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So
very short.
I'm done. Sorry. I didn't. Yeah, thank
Forgive
you.
me for interrupting.
Sure,
Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, so let me see who is next on my screen. And it is, let's see, Christian. Hi, please unmute yourself. And very briefly, you're still muted?
Don't worry. Maybe
Super, thank you.
Yeah. My name is Christian Depreux. I'm Swiss. I'm living in Spain. I'm investing basically in two fields, energy efficiency and tourism. Right now in tourism, the big focus is on beach and specifically the safety on beach to avoid drownings, which is one of the main cause of death in the world. So the investment is done through a company specialized in avoiding drownings in beaches. And so let's say make sure that tourism goes to a site and can go back home safely. That's it.
Super, many thanks, dear Christian. Lovely. Perfect. Ricardo, you are next on my screen.
Okay, Riccardo Emerito from Era Capital. I'm based in Milan. We are a structured club deal, quite strong in the creative industry. How do we get to the tourism through territorial impact and Generation Z millennials entrepreneurship, particularly focused on cultural and artistic, from an artistic and cultural angle. And we are pretty strong in structure and private equity and M&A deals.
Super, thank you very much, Ricardo. Reinhard, good morning. You are next on my screen.
Good morning. My name is Reinhard. I am a founder of a business angel club in Düsseldorf, Angel Engine. Meanwhile, we have 35 members, and I personally is interested in creative and cultural industries. So tourism is a part of it.
Excellent. That was really crisp and clear. Super. Daniel, good morning. You are next.
Hi, Julian. My name is Daniel Hering. I'm Swiss, like another guy before, but in Spain. I'm in an association called Swiss Health Angels. That is a spin-off from Go Beyond. We are around a bit more than 100 members in the association that invest mainly in healthcare deals. But tourism is as well, or the burden between tourism and healthcare is quite close, I would say, and in some way, and that's the reason why I'm here. Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Daniel. Sebastian, you are next on my screen.
Hi, thanks, Juliane, for having me. I'm Sebastian Schwenke from Berlin. I'm the managing director of the Business Angels Club Berlin and Brandenburg. We are 83 members here in the metropolitan area of the city. Basically, my job is to match startups with business angels. So I'm very much looking forward to the event today. And we don't really have an industry focus, but some angels from the tourism sector. And I also have a private background in tourism. So very excited. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, for joining. Fadi, you are the next one. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Julian. Good morning, everyone. So here, my name is Fadi Nafa. I represent today the European Business Innovation Center Network, where I am an investment readiness expert. So mostly what we do is we help startup and entrepreneur how to bring together the tech, the business, and the industry, and in our case today, which is tourism, together so they can present themselves in a very successful way as successful investment opportunity to investors. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Fadi. Thierry, you are next. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and happy to be here today. So I'm Thierry. I'm the CEO of Media Deals, so working with Julian from Berlin, and we are a private investment network specialized in the creative sectors and working on different pillars of the creative sectors. And yes, sustainable tourism could be one of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thierry. John, good morning. Good morning to Ireland.
Yeah, good morning from Ireland. John McGill here. I work for Enterprise Ireland, which is a state investment company for both investing in startups and scaling companies. And I lead the travel technology group, which is a group of about 7 or 8 staff across the world who attempt to start and grow travel tech companies in Ireland.
Excellent. Many thanks, John. And Kim, you are next on my screen. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to be here and looking forward to the usual interesting debate. Some of you guys I've met before. Hello, nice to see you again. I am the previous chairman of the Danish Business Angel Network called DanBan. Work with early stage investments, impact investments, and I'm a serial entrepreneur myself. Our little setup is called OptiTeam, and we are set up in the northern parts of Europe and UK, and we have also offices in the US and Asia. I have double voices on my screen now.
Yes, we hear some
Yeah, that's noise. Mute yours, maybe.
Yeah, it's David Vichency. David, yeah, mute yourself, please.
David, do you hear us? Please mute yourself. Thank you. So now we should hear you.
Fine. No, I'll end up. So what I want to say is our business model is easy. We invest very early stage. We've done over 100 early stage investments in good impact investments, as we call them. And the main focuses are health, big data. We call it impact today, but it's had many names: triple bottom line, ESG. We love things that have to do with safety, security, and justice. And this is globally, and we support these companies not only with their own capital, but we have consultancy companies and where we help them management-wise. So that's why we have a setup also in the US and in Asia. So we help them we like companies that can actually impact globally. And last but not least, we also help with rounds all the way to actually exits and IPOs. So we have a corporate finance department, not only with our own money, but family offices and backers around the world. So looking forward.
Many thanks, Kim. Lovely. Brian, you are next on my screen. Welcome back.
Thank you, Juliana. This is almost like Eurovision, going around.
You can start singing.
You do not want that. Brian Marinin is my name. I am the general partner of Team ABC. We're a VC firm focused on air, land, and sea transportation and travel, and specifically on the sustainability and digital transformation of those sectors.
Very good, lovely. Thank you, Brian. And now I have Siobhan on my screen. Hello.
Hello, forgive me for not turning on my camera. My internet is terrible this morning. I don't want to crash out. So my name is Siobhan Killen. I'm the communications manager for HBAN, which is the umbrella organization for business angels on the island of Ireland. We currently operate over 15 different syndicate groups, including 3 international syndicates.
Lovely, thank you, Siobhan. And we have Emma from HBAN. Good morning, Emma. Hey.
Good morning. I'm a colleague of Siobhan. So my name is Emer, and I'm also here representing HBAN.
Fantastic, very good. So you have been exquisite in saving time, which helps us, of course, to go slightly over time in the feedback rounds, which would be lovely because 10 minutes on the side of the investor Q&A can be short. So we can be a little bit relaxed on that. No relaxation though for the 5-minute pitch presentations. We have to be sharp and on time just to really make sure that everybody gets, enough time for the feedback round, so that nobody, falls short and knows with whom to follow up with. So drums. We are approaching our first pitch. As tourism is almost picking up again, I think we all feel the anxiety. People are booking flights and are, we hear this noise of the suitcases being pulled on the streets. I think this is a very significant noise that tells us something is going back to Hopefully not the normal we know, but hopefully to the normal that Alessandra has been referring to. And since we might enter problems that are too familiar, I'm very happy to welcome Stefan from Beyond Tourism to present first how their solution looks like and what they came up with. Stefan, the floor is yours. Please share your screen and let's see if everything is working, I hope. And I will set the clock. You know, I'm doing this all the time. We see it, perfect. Very good. Ready to go?
Yes, I am.
Brilliant. Good morning,
Perfect.
Stefan. Good to have you.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. My name is Stefan. I'm representing Beyond Tourism today. And with our smart guiding app Azul, we bring the individual travel experience to another level, but also we are helping destinations to optimize their visitor flows in destinations worldwide. So these are headlines we see these days. We see, tourism restart slowly. Some places not slowly, as we can see here. These are also, cases we have before the pandemic. So besides the problem of overcrowding and the challenge of sustainability, which will also be a topic in the next years, we have unused potential of new mobility and still analog booking systems, information systems, and all these challenges are having a huge impact on tourism. So on the bottom line, it's about shifting the focus from only marketing to guest management. That will be the future of tourism. So both tourist and destination management organizations need smart new solutions. And we have an answer on that with our solution, our smart guiding app Azul. We created a unique intelligent data backend, which enables logical connections of various databases. These can be tourism points of interest, the weather, overcrowded visitor density databases, local event calendars, and many, many more. You see one snapshot of our backend system, which creates all these logical connections. And we have the output into our Azul app, which is the first all-in-one platform approach in travel tech. And with these location-based real-time recommendations, we help people to discover a destination in a better way. And also we will help destinations. So how can it look like when you use Azul as a tourist? First, you arrive on the airport, you might get suggestions for public bathrooms. You get suggestions how to get to your hotel with car sharing offers. Close to the hotel, you get public Wi-Fi suggested. You get notice about special events happening this day. If it's about time to have lunch, you get notifications about restaurants you might be interested in. And once you discover the destination, you are noticed about overcrowded areas and weather change. The benefits for the DMOs are that they get real-time insights on visitors' movements. They get long-term data about how tourists behave in the destination, what they visit, how long they stay, what they are interested in, many, many more things. Destinations get a communication platform, a sales platform, and also they can integrate their already existing booking systems and engines. The market is huge. I don't have to explain you that. And we are aiming for 6.6 million revenue in 2025. This is what we are aiming for. The competition is huge, of course, and we are competing with a big player, but none of these offers both systems for the tourists and also systems for the destinations. This is our uniqueness. Our business model is, as a platform approach, we are offering B2B and B2C solutions for the destinations. We offer data and software as a service to control their visitors, an affiliate program, customized apps so that they can use their engine with their own design. We are offering for the tourists on a later stage, of course, premium content, like audio guides, exclusive content, virtual reality applications, and many more things. And of course, we also monetize a free app with in-app advertising. This is our plan for the next month. We are right now in the live testing as tourism restarts. We are using the marketing channels of the destinations to boost the user growth. And by the end of the year, we are expecting the first revenues in the B2B. This is our team. Together, we worked already many years on several projects, multimedia and tourism. And taken all together, we have more than 30 years experience in tourism. This is where we are. We acquired already, despite the pandemic, many destinations. Also internationally, we have partnerships with local schools, local universities in Berlin. And we are looking for on the next stage for 500,000 seed investment for testing our app with the destinations, go to the live testing, have further development of the additional features I show you, and to set up a dedicated development team inside our team. So yeah, that's it. Our vision is to become the #1 app for exploring destinations for individual travelers, and also to provide the most efficient tool for the destinations for the tourism of tomorrow. And we are really happy to shape the restart of tourism with you together. And yeah, thanks for your attention. And now I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Stefan. Excellent. So that was almost in time. Congratulations. Who has a first question to ask? Maybe we finish the presentation so that I can see. Thank you very much. So I can see people. I don't see everybody on the screen, so be so kind to unmute yourself and begin asking questions, giving feedback. I see that John unmuted his microphone.
Is that leading me to ask a question, is it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. From what I see, I mean, the key to this is the visitors have to buy into the system to create the data. So it's another app on your phone, which is always a great difficulty. So how do you get the visitor to download the app?
We are working strongly together with the destinations. So the destinations will offer many exclusive content, for example, you don't find anywhere else. And they offer a seamless integration into their existing system, into their existing offline system, which makes the need for.
Sorry, I've arrived. I've already got my TripAdvisor app. I've got my Google app. I've got all the bits and pieces. How do you convince me to download another app?
We are working strongly about the content. So, for example, we have a few destinations already with really exclusive.
But I don't know what the content is until I download the app.
But this is promoted inside the tourist information, inside the hotels and the destinations, train station where you arrive, airport, etc. This is where we onboard the user to the app with QR codes to just easily download the app. And all the content they will see then inside the app, and they profit, of course, they profit from the system because they get offers, they get, for example, small concerts off the track, for example, attractions which are not in the touristic hotspots. All these things they won't find in TripAdvisor, because if you go down the list, you start at the first of the most important, most attraction, and this is always usually overcrowded.
Okay.
Can I have a quick one?
Yes, please, Brian. Oh, who was it? Yes.
So Stefan, what I think I'm also spinning on that from an investor perspective, this is a consumer-oriented, capital-intensive project, which I think you need a lot of. I hear what you're saying, and I've had a few of those cases. What I wonder is, how much capital do you perceive you're going to be needing in the future to acquire customers? That's what we're talking about, the onboarding, and do you have the metrics for what it costs and all these, the basic stuff? And this is sort of like the kind of thing where in the US you would have a very big budget for it, whereas maybe in Europe we're not as good as understanding how much these would cost to actually acquire recurring clients, right?
Exactly. Thanks. Good question. Of course, we are having scale effects as we are working close with the destinations, using already their target groups, their marketing channels, social media, blog, newsletters, etc. So this is where we are jumping on, because we are working already close with many destinations in Germany, also Europe, getting more and more. This is where we profit from. Of course, we need a lot of money for the initial start to finally to get to the amount of users that the entire system works. So yeah, that's what we are planning. And the 500,000 are for the next stage now to develop all the features and to acquire more destinations to test with, and then there would be another round to get to the break even.
Okay, do we have another question? Yuri, please.
Thank you. I would have a follow-up question from John. Could you please elaborate a little bit on this destination roadmap? I understand that you are working very intensively with the different agencies on site. So you must have some kind of a roadmap of, you know, acquisition of different destinations. And to that, I would also like to understand better how this collaboration is evolving. So what are the typical partners on the ground, so to say? Do you engage with some editorial when you say you work on contents? And also maybe a little bit on languages. In what languages do you foresee to develop the app? Or it may already exist? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Complex question. I tried to get through that. So let me start first with the languages. Of course, we are working with the destinations together. Now we have a Norwegian destination who asked for Norwegian, so we integrate that. Basically, it's really easy to set up the app in many languages, because the content is provided by the destinations. This is an important part. We are not creating the content ourselves. The content always comes from the destination, and the destination usually, an example of Norway, they have it in German, English, and Norwegian. So they provide that, we integrate it in the system, and it's displayed in the language you choose. Concerning the roadmap, we are focusing now, of course, we started last year in March with the first lockdown, so we only had chance to acquire German destinations. Now we have some more. Despite the corona, we acquired international destinations by the end of the year. Now we are slowly launching in destinations around Berlin, which are close to Berlin. We have more and more coming up for the end of the year in Germany. Then we are working with, for example, Norwegian destination as a cruise destination. They might not have many international visitors this year. Still, let's see how the forecast is when the cruise restarts. But next year they can launch that app too. We have Canary Islands in the pipeline. So we are slowly also spreading to European destinations. And on the technical layer, to integrate all that content, it's about only a few agencies who are offering the content management systems for the destinations. So if we simply have interfaces to these agencies, we can easily integrate their content, and destinations always have to work on their content, no matter if they use it for social media, whatever. And this is also something we can integrate then into the app. I hope I answered all your questions. Just if you have more, just ask again. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
More questions, comments?
Julian, yes. So it's not a question. It's like it's a piece of an advice. So for me, it was hard to really understand the importance of the problem you're solving. So why that's important? Why it's with the current solution? Why it's not solved? What's still pending? What's the killer that you're gonna solve? So for me as an end user, I will be running to get your application. So it was really difficult for me to understand the importance. I see you have two pillars, the B2B side and the B2C side. So also it's important in your presentation to clearly differentiate your value proposition for each what's the importance of your solution in solving some pain point for each. Okay, so it's really important to differentiate the two pillars and put more highlight on your validation side. You're already testing in Germany with some agency. So what was the feedback? What was the reaction? What was the adoption rate? So I think our fellow investor would agree, like they need to feel confident that you have you have an interesting opportunity. You really understand your audience, what are their needs, and you really understand your killer differentiator versus all other existing competitors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fadi. I saw, Brian, that you unmuted your microphone.
I'm gonna bombard poor Stefan with questions. So mine was in relation to that, just on the B2B side in particular. So you mentioned a few competitors there. I notice you don't mention any of the other multiple different startups that are in this space, but Foursquare never properly made it into Europe. Yelp actually came into Europe, spent an awful lot of money and pulled out. It's very hard to hit small retailers and actually build a business through that. And I'm wondering how you're looking at that differently to perhaps how they may have looked at it, that you think you're going to crack that.
Good questions, thank you. We are driving the bottom-up principle. So we are, as I said, we are have more than 30, almost 40 years experience together in tourism industry. We know all the boards. For example, in Germany, this is where we start. This is our core market where we start. We know many destinations. We know many boards, and you have, if you want to set up such a system, you have to work together with the destinations. Otherwise, you kick out. And this is what happened to the American companies coming from the high level, trying to focus only on the B2C side, but not integrating the destinations into their product. And this is what we do different. We are working together with them. We are asking, what are your needs? And they clearly have the needs of managing customers, managing visitors. The pure marketing is over. Amsterdam, for example, they don't have any marketing budget anymore. They need to control their visitors. And that is what will happen in the next years in entire Europe. And with working together with these destinations, I think we have now the chance after COVID, after tourism was paused, we saw the impressive figures before. Now we have the chance to create something new, which is good for all, for the destinations and for the tourists at the same time.
Thanks, Stefan.
Very good. Thank you very much for your questions. And thank you very much, Stefan, for answering and highlighting and clarifying the points. So that was the first 15 minutes, so to speak, of a presentation. We will take the liberty of sharing the contact details of the startups with the participating investors so that the investors can then follow up with everybody who has been leaving an impression. And I'm sure you all will. So that brings me to the next presentation from the Netherlands, and obviously it sits very well in the expectations we all have that the recovery of tourism and sustainable tourism will be linked to local travels and trips. So Sanne, it's a pleasure to have you back, and the floor is yours as whenever you are ready. I see you're already sharing your screen, so that seems to work.
Can you already see it? I like my screen. Oh, here you go.
Don't see the screen.
Yeah.
Our world came to a halt. We see it.
Yes, wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sanne. I'm the founder of I Like Local from the Netherlands. I'm very delighted to be here this morning. Our world came to a halt, a wake-up call that forces us to rethink how the world operates. It's time for new. Oh, it's not working. Wait. It's not going to the next screen. That's strange.
You have an arrow down at the left. Maybe that helps. There's a little arrow pointing to the left and to the right.
I can't really see it.
Left-hand side of your
Let me
screen.
just put it like here. I always see that this was happening, right?
Murphy's Law, you know.
Let me see. Represent, go back. Yes. All right. Let's see if it's working this time. Yeah, now it goes. Yep. All right, sorry.
No worries.
Our world came to a halt, a wake-up call that forces us to rethink how the world operates. It is time for a new narrative on how we travel. This is exactly what we do at iLikeLocal, a fair platform for authentic travel experiences that create social and economic inclusiveness. In 2015, I met Lemmy in Nairobi in one of Africa's largest slums, an energetic guy and wonderful storyteller. A few years before, he started sharing his story with some foreign friends, giving them a peek into his life as a local guide. Sounds like his presents an opportunity as more travelers are looking for authentic local experiences, but don't know where and how to find them. At the same time, only a small percentage of tourism revenue reaches people like Lemmy due to a lack of digital skills, language barrier, or limited internet access. So the pain point is two-sided: the client who's looking for more authentic travel experiences that give back, and the supplier who can provide their needs but hardly have access to them. So we are solving these pain points via iLikeLocal. We have built a web platform where local people from developing countries can host travelers that provide economic and social inclusiveness for people who never had access to the market before, small-scale authentic travel experiences, and a regenerative way of conducting business by giving users of the platform genuine voice and control. Why the time is now? Due to the pandemic, more people became conscious of their footprint and how the way we live has to change. People shift away from commodity large group experiences and crave for something more small scale and unique. And more consumers want to purchase from purpose-driven brands. And more focus has been put on involving and investing in rural communities while ensuring a fair distribution of tourism profits. What we have seen is that the group who's most sensitive to this are millennials. This is confirmed by our own customers, of which 75% are millennials from Western countries. 80% of millennials are looking for a unique travel experience that give back. And at the same time, this is the fastest growing demographic of international travel, accounting for roughly 20% of the current market. With this, that market size is estimated at 46 million people. Our platform not only offers authentic travel experiences, but also let them easily search, review, and book experiences. Looking at the competitor landscape we operate in, we mainly see commodity experience providers, and the ones that do offer more authentic experiences only have a single focus on the client needs. As iLikeLocal, we distinguish ourselves by serving the needs for both the client and the supplier, by offering authentic travel experiences that make a difference on the one hand, and supporting and including hosts in their communities in developing countries who are otherwise left out. How we make money? With each booking made on our platform, we earn 25% margin directly and 70% via our sales partners. Our rebranded platform has already been launched. We have $1 million grant money ready to be spent for a project with our partner ActionAid. With €5,500 funding, we can truly make the next step and build a dedicated team, expand our offering and cover Latin America, and invest in expansion of our marketing and sales distribution channel. Our vision for 2024 is that we are serving over 95,000 clients, impact over 50,000 local people, and generate a revenue of 15 million euros. Our team has extensive experience in marketing, sales, and social entrepreneurship. To date, we were able to serve over 2,000 travelers, supporting the lives of over 4,000 people in 19 countries. In recent years, we got awarded by Booking.com and the UNWTO, received a $1 million grant partnership for our partnership with ActionAid. And furthermore, we have been featured in over 70 media outlets, varying from BBC, Forbes, National Geographic. We are ready to scale further. What drives us is supporting more social entrepreneurs and change makers like Lemmy, so that more people in their communities can be lifted out of poverty, while also leaving more travelers with unforgettable memories. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sanne. Excellent. So we are ready to take questions from the investors. Who wants to be first? Maybe Sanne, you close.
Yeah, I try. Stop share. Yeah, stop share. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Done. Super. Thank you. Who wants to be first?
How do you scout potential partners?
Actually, how do I count? How do I?
How do you scout? I mean, how do you make sure you can rely on them? You know.
Yeah, no, what we have seen over the years is that on the one hand side, we have individuals who apply on our platform directly. And we work a lot with community-based tourism organizations, NGOs. And that's mostly for including these marginalized communities that otherwise are left out. So initially we started with mostly with individuals and with some community-based organizations. And over the years, we noticed that it's still middle-class income people who are part of our platform, although like a marketplace is accessible to anyone. So therefore we started more actively reaching out to larger NGOs like an ActionAid that we are working with, but also smaller community-based tourism organizations to better understand why they are not part of our marketplace and the tourism industry in general. So we vet them based on, we have set a very clear criteria and selection tool of to what extent what the experiences need to, how to say, meet. So for us, it's very important that the people who are providing the experiences are local people, so not like a foreigner living in Nairobi like me, that they already have some kind of experiences or at least vetted by their own NGOs and community organizations, that the experiences are small scale, personal, because that's at the end what really leaves the traveler with this unique memory rather than the large group experiences, and that people really have the option to be immersed in the local culture, better understand, can participate either in art workshops or having a home dinner where you really facilitate that interaction. Yes, good.
I see Sebastian unmuted, Daniel unmuted, Fadi unmuted,
oh, wow.
Beauty unmuted. So the first one who's speaking gets the floor.
I start then. Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah.
My question would be, because you mentioned you also include stays and activities. So what's the main focus at the moment? And could you probably elaborate a little bit on the customer value, on the basket sizes, and how much one customer actually books via your platform of the whole experience of the whole travel and holiday, basically?
Yeah, so indeed, we both offer stays and short-term experiences. Currently, we do focus on the latter one, the short-term experiences. Over the years, we have seen that it's easier for people to include in their itineraries. We are not like a travel agency that organizes a trip from A to Z. So in that case, it's easier for people to have like short-term experiences including in their trips. So that's one thing. The second question we're asking, like how large are the buckets? What are people actually booking? So currently, like the average booking amount is $90 US. And people like book their experience most of the time within a week before they actually do the trip. So that's one thing when they directly book on the platform. And then we also collaborate with B2B. So that is like travel agencies, hotel chains, where they include our packages in their trips. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'll jump in. Okay. So thank you, Sanne, for this presentation. My question is, how much funding do you need right now?
5,500.
Okay. To do this 5,500, where it's going to get you? Where you're going to reach?
It will last us for the next 2 years. And as said, like for us, it's very important. So we already have a recently new rebuilt platform. So the tech is already there. We have a $1 million grant money ready to be spent for a partnership with ActionAid. The thing where we need money for is mainly for building the team and for marketing purposes. So that means what marketing purposes means, like expansion of our distribution partners. So this is like the travel agencies or hotel chains. We are currently working or looking into the virtual experience landscape and the partnerships that are available there. So that means, for example, universities, schools. It's a completely different kind of landscape that we can tap into there, but that's something in progress. So that's mainly.
Okay, so I ask you this because I didn't get it. So you have a 23-slide presentation. Okay, it tells a very beautiful story but on investment pitching, you need, from my perspective, you need to narrow it down to like 10, 11 slides, focusing on the business. So use the first slide for your mission, for your story, then dissect the business. So for an investor, he needs to see clearly, where do you stand right now? Where you want to go? So this 550, where it will allow you to go, to grow, actually, because it's giving you money, he's expecting a return on his investment. How you're going to do this journey and what do you actually need? So, and he needs to see it clearly in your presentation. Okay, thank you.
No, very good feedback. Thank you.
We have more questions. Daniel, yes, please.
Sana, very nice purpose. I really like that, what you're trying to do. But as my colleague was saying, I got stuck a bit in the financial slide, and I started doing some rough calculation. And you said that a customer does $90 per booking.
Yes.
But then when I see the projection and they make a rough calculation, you're calculating 160 per customer that you're going to make the profit. And that's 25%, I understand.
Yeah.
So it would be that every customer should spend 630 roughly.
Yeah, it is indeed true.
And
that
so how do you put in perspective the $90 that they are booking and the 650 that your projection are showing?
So what we have projected for the next couple of years is that, one, that we can drive the average booking price up, and secondly, that we acquire like more recurrent clients.
Okay, I don't get. I'm too ignorant. I don't get that.
Okay.
But
I'm happy to spend some time afterwards to go into further details.
Okay.
All right, there we have a follow-up round, I suppose. Yuri, would you like to ask a question?
Maybe just a follow-up question from Daniel. What countries will you focus next? How will, I mean, maybe you can help Daniel out and myself as well to explaining the roadmap. You know, where is the focus of your further growth and where the money is going to go into? Because we understand you have a good platform and you can grow further, but how is the scalability going to be managed?
Yeah. So currently we are in Asia and Africa. We further are going to expand across the African continent. And the next one is also like Latin America. So that's our geographical focus. The focus will be on emerging countries. So not on Europe or the US, also in terms of competition, but also really that it matches better the purpose that we have in mind. So that's basically where the money is going to. It's really pushing on the marketing side and rebuilding the team to execute the plan.
Thank you. And maybe another one, you're saying that €90 is an average amount spent by your customer. But could you elaborate a little bit your segmentation? Because on one hand, I perceive it like this, there may be individual travelers. On the other hand, there are also agencies. So are there different segments, and I mean, how do they distinguish in terms of how you contract them, or is it a one time, or maybe, you know, with some segments it could be a more kind of a long-term contract as well? So could you elaborate on this as well, please?
Yeah, so what we've seen, for example, with the travel agencies, it's a recurring booking. So there it's a one-time investment from our side to set up these partnerships with the distribution partners. Whereas when you directly target the clients, it requires more investment to keep them coming back, but also acquire new clients. So we do a lot of, like, for example, what we have seen, SEO is working really well, affiliate marketing is really working really well, but that's something that we are currently, we have sort of like an ambassador program. That's something that we are going to push further, not only for the client side to acquire more customers, but also on the host side to expand our offering further, where we use like a referral host program where our current host can refer another host as well, plus like further expansion of the NGO partnerships to acquire more like new unique products.
Thank you. But do you foresee long-term contracts like with hotel chains or booking.com?
Yes, that's our goal. Like our goal is to more push on the sales distribution partners than acquiring every time new clients. As you already mentioned, it's a more difficult exercise to do that. It requires way more money. So we say better to focus on setting up more partnership with these distribution partners, so that we can really scale that much quicker.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sanne. Thank you very much for your questions, dear investors. And
thank you too.
Thank you. And we are ready to find out more about a new type of retreat. And I'm very happy to welcome Alessandro to share with us how the bubble retreat looks like and what it all is about.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity of being here with you today. I'm going to share the presentation with you so we can go through it very kindly. I would like to share with you today our effort to develop a unique, comprehensive model of glamping design, which is basically based on 4 main pillars, which is design, eco-sustainability, scalability, and technology. We've seen in these recent years how the global glamping market size was valued at almost $2 billion in 2020, with the two-digit growth for the next 7 years. And how glamping is actually attracting a specific cluster of guests with high spending capacity. But still, on the other hand, we are still witnessing how can I say, a fragmented structure and see the competition with the total lack of professional players acting as aggregator of competences and technologies. So this is why we developed a fully scalable, eco-sustainable glamping model, delivering on and off-grid solutions to colonize even the most remote areas. Personalized, detail-oriented hospitality that can be perfectly integrated with local food and culture, and tailored software solution to manage marketing, energy use, and customer relationship. We also thought that could be winning and could be very important to link our activities with real estate opportunities by matching our model to location without touristic potential in Italy and later in all Europe. By the way, all the pictures that you see in here are actual pictures from our glampings all over Europe. All over Italy. We have a proprietary development pipeline that includes Geo 4.0, which is the top-notch update of current geodesic domes. The Treehouse, which is a fully energy-independent glamorous home unit placeable virtually everywhere, and the Energy Hub that allow us to develop on and off-grid solution to ensure a fully eco-sustainable staying and colonize even the most remote areas. So each of the product impacts differently on companies' turnover, and we want to diversify to make sure that we have a sustainable growth in the next years. We have developed a very structured process that encompasses close interaction with both the investors and local institutions to make sure the project is actually feasible and fully integrated with local communities. And also regulation, which we think is a pivotal proxy of success of this approach. We want to harmonize and, in a way, streamline the whole process to design, build, and manage high-end glampings. And this is why we created a package to start from, that we could also provide investors with a clear perspective on what the return will be. So we are introducing ourselves with the claim, create a base colony, starting from 90,000 euros, less than 100,000 euros, which guarantees you a very clear return on your investment in terms of break even and ROCEs. Although we already a pilot up and running and profitable, I would say, and 3 more colonies that will be ready by the end of the year. We are currently at the seed stage, and in the next 2 years and a half, so until 2023, we want to structure the company more consistently and both from the organizational, commercial, and development point of view. And we are currently an established company registered in the registry of innovative companies, which is a great advantage to facilitate investment from outside entities with tax and other administrative facilitation. Based on almost 2 years of activities and data collected from the pilot project, we forecast a 3 years pre-action cost of about 450,000 euros and expected revenues of very conservative, I would say, 2 million euros in the next 3 years. Our business model is based on 2 main streams that includes colonies co-creation and licensing of the brand as quality service, process optimization, and technology benchmark. The core founder team is a multidisciplinary group with diverse and complementary competences, starting from general management to hospitality, the architect, and the lawyer, to make sure basically to be proven to be absolutely successful in addressing the critical challenges that the enterprises intrinsically carries with itself. We have started with the first pilot in 2020 in Umbria. You can see the beautiful picture in the Instagram, and it's currently up and running and profitable. And we are rapidly expanding all over Italy, and we plan to enter Europe in 2022. So we're basically looking for investors that could help us in building that what we think could be an absolute blockbuster, given both social and economic growth drivers. And we wanted to address and serve to deliver the experiential nature of feelings that many people are looking for, especially after the lockdown. We aim to do that by leveraging on the wide availability of unused lands in beautiful places that could also help local communities in delivering and improve a sustainable offer. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thanks a lot, Alessandro. And thank you also for closing your presentation already. Who would like to ask the first question, has a comment? Nobody? I can't believe it.
I'll ask the first question.
Thank you, John.
I'm not quite sure. What are you actually selling, Alessandro?
As I have shown in the previous in a slide in which we show the product differentiation, our first product is actually the design, development, and the management. All the tools to do that, to manage
so if I have a field, you supply me with the dome and everything else,
including absolutely, and including the regulatory support to do that. So oftentimes we have country house manager that they just like there are plenty in Italy. We call it agriturismi that may in a way implement and integrate their hospitality offer with the glamping, because there's plenty of land, unused land that can.
Yeah, I suppose my 2 issues would be one is when you go off piste, let's say, and try something like glamping, you're looking for something very authentic to the area. So why would I go to a dome in Italy, to a dome in France, to a dome in Ireland? And the other thing is, if I'm picking up from your website here that there's a sustainability element. How do you get around people saying, well, you're shipping metal and plastic and glass all over the place, so where's the sustainability part of it?
So thank you for your question. First point, we do not only offer geodesic domes, but that's our first pilot, because we thought that from an aesthetic point of view, using the geodesic dome in that specific place was perfect. We are referring to external providers, top level providers, to have more opportunities, and internally with our team of architects, we are developing our proprietary systems to generate the glamping, including the treehouse, which is a fully sustainable home unit. That's one point. The second point about the sustainability, the way we're managing the energy supply there is basically 90% totally sustainable, because we're getting it from solar power. And solar power are great, but are also issue from the visual perspective, because it's very bad to see this a natural land with solar power. So we'll build the structure.
No, you get me wrong. Sorry, if you're building the dome or building the tree house or whatever, and shipping it someplace, then is somebody going to say, well, why aren't I buying it local, making it local?
Why not play maybe local? It's a matter of quality, and it's a matter of proprietary intellectual property. And I mean, we can be sustainable, we cannot be 100% sustainable. Even this coal is not sustainable from an energetic perspective. I'm sure that we're using fuel for that. So perfect is enemy of good. It's a process of improvement that we're trying to address, and hopefully we're going to be better year by year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who likes to ask another question or comment? Daniel.
Water supply.
How
are you going to organize that? And as well, all the sanitation, how long can they be used, or the cleaning, if it's in a field outside the world, I don't know how you get water and how you clean it up at the end.
So
in a sustainable way.
So clearly we have some requirements for building a glamping. That means basically that we need to, I've shown a process that we're following up with structure in order to assess whether glamping is feasible or not. And that's part of the interaction with the investor. It's clearly you cannot build the glamping everywhere. Actually you can, but you have different level of provision to the guest. So if glamping is still a natural place, but at some buildings and some provision like close by, that's much more easier. If you're on the top of a mountain where nothing else is there, I mean, you can expect a bed, you can expect a certain level of energy supply, but you cannot expect to be in Via del Corso in Rome with running hot water and stuff. So, and we've noticed by experience how this cluster of guests are actually very willing to give up some of these comforts to just be in a natural place, in a totally different way. Please remember, this is not a staying, this is an experience. So we're addressing and we're selling an experience to these people. And this is why it cannot be compared to a full room. And this is why people are actually even willing to be a little bit cold and just to put a couple of sweater on just to be in a nice place where, we just couldn't be differently.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we have another comment or a question? Yes, Yuri.
Alessandro, could you please describe a little bit the profile of your current customers, in the pilot project, so that we get this idea a little bit better, please?
Absolutely, Yuri. Thank you very much. So we really believe in a very stepwise approach. Again, as I mentioned to you, this is really the first model of a company as an aggregator, okay? So also commercially, it's very hard because there's no precedent, basically. So what we try to do, we try to build a strong connection with the people from the country houses in Italy who owns a lot of land, and ask whether we can actually support them in augment their hospitality offer. Which we thought is the most easiest way to start off our business, And interesting, we did a very deep study about who to deal with, and we also understood that camping on one side was far from us more than the country houses, and this is because of the cluster of people or guests that actually go into the camping compared to the one to go to the country houses. So this was very interesting model that is actually working out pretty well because basically, again, a lot of land, unused land, people wanted to do new experiences. people that wanted to, stay in the wild in a safe way, yet be in comfort. There's a lot of places in Italy in which you can eventually just not build new structures, brick and mortar structure, because it's impossible. We could call it temporary structures. It's absolutely feasible, because once you're done, you just peg it out and ship it somewhere else, and maybe create a new pop-up hotel just somewhere else, from the mountain till the sea. I think that Danny asked me a very interesting question, which is like basically the time life of this product. So they're guaranteed for about 10 years, but we guarantee basically the total payoff of the infrastructure is in 5 years. Even less, we can say, but we want to be conservative and say 5 years. Just because, honestly, this is a really quick business, and you just cannot expect that structure to be the same for 10 years. And we're also playing a lot on the diversification, because every place has its own structure. Again, we put the domes here. We're going to put the luxury tents in Argentario in Tuscany, and we want to put different structure in Lego Porta in northern Italy, which also depends upon for example, the temperature, the average temperature, and other conditions that are very important, including infrastructures.
I would just like to have a short question. Are the structures, are the bubbles recyclable or somehow reusable? Because that would create a huge impact in comparison to other temporary structures used for glamping.
I have to be honest. The first pilot we did with the with polluting elements, I would say. I will be totally honest with you, because it was our first structure, because we want to contain the cost. We don't want to be stupid and spend too many money on something we just couldn't foresee what the success could be. But what we've done we completely realized the point, especially referring to the cluster of guests that we are working with. They absolutely want something sustainable. So we have, for example, German providers, which is ensuring basically the total recyclability of 90% of the part of each building, which I think it's a great opportunity. Again, perfect is enemy of good. We're not 100%, but eventually we want to get there.
Super. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you very much, Alessandro, for your clarifications. And we are now ready to hear more about the Freebird Club and maybe eventually become part of it. I'm already considering. Peter, welcome to the pitching and great to have you.
Thank you very much. I hope everybody can hear me and see me okay.
Yes.
I'm just going to the share screen now. Everything looking
perfect.
Great. Thanks everybody for having me. I'm Peter Mangan, the founder of the Freebird Club, and I'll begin by saying that the origin of the species, the Freebird, is in fact my own father. And he's a retired widower, and the idea comes from the life-enhancing experiences he's had in meeting and befriending fellow older travelers that came to stay at a rental cottage I own in the west of Ireland. Society is aging rapidly. There'll be 2.1 billion people aged over 60 by 2050. That's more than double today's figure. But the real problem is loneliness and isolation, which was an epidemic even before COVID, and it's worse for an older person's health than smoking and obesity. Many older adults would love to travel, but feel they can't because they lack a travel companion or the confidence to go alone. And many struggle financially with inadequate pensions, despite often having wealth tied up in mortgage-free homes. Well, the sharing economy offers a solution, and we use it to provide peer-to-peer social travel and homestays for older adults. We do this by way of a membership club, which enables older adults to travel and stay with each other as part of a trusted community of peers. The host is always present because this is about companionship more than accommodation. Through our age-friendly web platform, members set up personal profiles describing themselves and their interests and details of their accommodation if they become a host. But this is about people matching with people, not just finding a nice place to stay. It's like Airbnb meets Match.com, but for friendship instead of romance. So welcome to the Freebird Club, connecting senior explorers through meaningful travel. It's where members can travel and stay with like-minded people or open their homes to others and earn income. But ultimately, it's a fun and accessible way to meet and share experiences with fellow Freebirds in later life. And many people have had such experiences with us. And we've already had tremendous feedback, as you can see from Juliet, a Freebird guest in France. So our journey began in 2016 when we won the European Social Innovation Competition. 2017, we launched the business in Ireland. In 2018, first partnership, multiple startup awards. In 2019, we won the Sustainability and Impact Award with the UNWTO, which led to our first term sheet. So we hit 2020 with 4,600 members in 73 countries worldwide, 2,000 nights booked. We were growing organically, exceptional feedback, and then lightning struck. So here's a selection of our major international awards and some of the global media attention we've received. So we've been working to date with a very basic MVP website, but we're now developing a brand new platform with world-leading technology company Globant. And here's a sample of our new homepage with the full site to be ready in a matter of months. So through this website, members can search and find hosts in desired locations, but also match with hosts with whom they share interests, because this is optimizing for compatibility and doing things together, sharing experiences during the stay. Our business model is a combination of a one-off joining fee of €25 plus 15% commission per booking. The peer-to-peer accommodation market is worth $150 billion currently and projected to grow 30% per annum over the next 5 years. The homestay market, which is a subset where the host is present during the stay, is currently valued at $35 billion. Meanwhile, silver tourism is projected to grow hugely as society ages, tagged as a megatrend by the OECD. Competition, well, there's Airbnb and smaller companies like Homestay.com, but these are open to all demographics and mainly there's nothing tailored for older people. There's minimal information about people on the platform. It's primarily properties, and there's certainly no matching based on interests or anything else. Our innovation is primarily social. This is about active and healthy aging. It's about creating connection and quality connections between people, providing older adults with new opportunities in later life that they'd otherwise struggle to find. And this is underpinned by customer care, which is designed with empathy for the older person. There's innovation in our technology because ours is in fact a hybrid accommodation and companionship site optimized for interaction. Freebird is age tech meets travel tech with a social purpose. Our marketing is a mix of traditional, which is effective for reaching older adults directly, but also digital, which allows us to target younger family and friends who can introduce Freebird to their elders. We're working with and through aging organizations and influencers who provide a direct line to our target demographic. And there's opportunities for partnerships and collaboration within the travel and tourism sector, which is increasingly waking up to the potential of the older traveler. Our projections are based on two key metrics, number of members and number of nights booked. We're targeting a 5x growth rate over a 5-year period, which could get us to revenues of close to 100 million. We have a highly experienced team with diverse and broad leadership skills. We're supported on the technology side by Globant, and we also have a strategic advisory board. COVID, of course, has been a perfect storm for Freebird, but the thing about COVID is it has made the problem we address bigger and our solution more important, because there's been a huge increase in loneliness and isolation among older adults. There's new travel barriers and concerns that weren't there in the past, and creative solutions will be needed to get them moving again. And Freebird can be transformative in this because our customized travel connections carry far less risk because contacts can be limited to those you're staying with. COVID certification can be integrated on the platform and checked prior to booking. And so Freebird has the power to remobilize and reconnect older adults post-pandemic. So we're currently looking to raise 600,000 for product development, marketing, and customer care. We expect to raise again within 15 months with an expected exit timeframe of 7 to 8 years. Thank you very much for your attention and very happy to answer questions.
Many thanks, Peter. Thank you very much. And thank you also for closing your presentation already. Super. And we are ready to hear the first question from the investors. Who likes to start?
I can quickly butt in there. So Peter, great presentation. I mean, nicely investor oriented, answers a lot of good questions. My standard question being the same that I wrote in the chat then to the previous, in other words, what do you see as your biggest hurdles here? And, you know, what is your ask apart from capital? Are you looking for some kind of skill sets? Are you looking for some kind of partnerships that your investor can help with?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, the biggest challenge has been COVID, no doubt about it. In fact, we had a very good deal that was due to be signed off at the end of March last year with a corporate partner investor and a social innovation fund that was backed by the EU. And I suppose we were really prepared to proceed on that basis, and we had a launch plan and everything put together. And it brought home to me the importance of having a kind of investor that can support you, open up partnerships, because this is a massive play. To be honest with you, it's a global prospect. You know, it's a niche Airbnb potential, and I think it needs a kind of investors and partners that can open the doors. These come on the aging side, but also on the travel and tourism side. And currently, our gaps are on the team side. We have the leadership skills. We don't have technology expertise in the team just yet. And I think it's very important that we actually put together a development team that can take the platform that's being developed or partially developed by Globant and take it in-house such that we can evolve from there. So technology is a very important aspect to this, and that's kind of the gap in the team at the moment. And that's what the investment would allow us to do, put together the tech development team.
Okay, and a quick follow-up while I'm on here then. So what I think most investors would be asking is, what is your way of building some kind of barrier? Because what you're adding, as I see it, is a feature. Actually, I know you'll probably be you'll disagree, but if you look at it from our perspective, what is keeping, like you mentioned, all the big competitors or even others to basically add this feature? Because you're addressing a pain point which is relevant, and you're definitely coming with the solution, but isn't it fairly easy for the competitors to then tweak and add that as a possibility the same way as you would add if there's a new target group, then they have the people in their system. Well, they don't have the people, but they have the whole system ready there to run, right? They have the marketing, they have the funding. That would be the main, I think, scary point, because you need a lot of capital to get a critical mass.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I suppose my answer to that is, I think, first of all, the big players, and we know who the big one is, Airbnb, and I've spoken, in fact, to people in Airbnb. Airbnb obviously is a generalist, and I think to succeed in this niche of older adults, I think you have to win the hearts and minds, and I think you have to be a specialist. I think you have to get the UX right in your product. You have to get very focused in your marketing. You need to collaborate with the booming aging sector, and really become an entity within that. I think it's hard to really achieve the potential within this sector, the older adult population, without being specialist in it. And I think partnerships with aging organizations, whether that's potentially AARP in the US, and I've spoken to them too, Active Retirement Ireland here, for example, and a myriad of other organizations around the world. I think the key is to actually partner, collaborate with them, win their trust, win their credibility, and then I think it just opens up. But having spoken to somebody in Airbnb, they have actually looked at segmenting the market, and their research told them that they are better off in terms of the actual bottom line, keeping it open and not segmenting the market and being all things to everybody, rather than getting deep into a particular niche. So I agree with you. There aren't clinical barriers to entry here, but I think you have to get it really right, and that requires specialism.
I'll leave it to the speakers. Great answer. What I think is, you're talking Airbnb, but what I'm looking at is everything from travel agencies to event bookings and whatever. For them, it's much easier to add an event. It's more complementary for them, right? So I hear what you're saying. I'll leave the mic to the other guys here.
Thanks very much.
Who has another question, comment?
Yes, thank you, Peter, and thank you, Tim, for dissecting it. It's clearly such. To follow up on Kim's question, like, if I am a risk taker by nature, so I would see you growing a good business, so you can be bought by Airbnb or by other, but you need to do it right. You need to do it quickly. Your presentation puzzled me, because you presented like, I am already there. I have track record. I started in 2016, then COVID hit. Then you restarted the traditional investor pitching, like talking about the market. I would love to see like how you are reinitiating or re-kicking your business and successfully taking advantage of COVID and spending more time on what was your last slide. The ask, how are you going to use it? You're saying that you need, like, if I'm not mistaken, right, 600 now, then very shortly another 1.4 million. So why? So my advice would be, like, capitalize on your current success, okay, to showcase that you have a successful business, and to follow up on Kim's question, like, show how the market and how your competitor reacted to your work during the last 5 years, so from 2016 till today. So show it, how the market, how the agency, how the potential competitor reacted to your business, and get us through more about your future. Okay, why do you need the fund? How you're going to use it to make this successful? And for me, one of your exit strategy would be to be bought by those players. They will keep your brand, but they just be a big investor in your brand instead of trying to compete with you. And it's a very nice business. I like it. Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's great feedback. I'll take that on board. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Do we have another question, comment, thoughts, concerns? Christian.
Hi. First of all, I just love your presentation. I see you're fully convinced. I mean, the idea is really appealing also. My question is the following: how do you get the people, elderly people, to go online on internet? Did you think at some point in your strategic decisions that you may have or may need some other distribution model than not only online?
Yeah, well, certainly, as I mentioned, I think we need to really stand out in the customer care. I call it customer care rather than customer service, because I like to say that we're going from the sharing economy to the caring economy. And so the customer care model that we will have will be very phone based. Yes, I'm afraid it's probably going to be overhead heavy to do that. But I think that's, again, where you win the hearts and minds of this demographic. The one thing I'd say about technology, when I started this in 2016, everyone was saying, oh, older people aren't online, and this is this is going to be a difficult play. But obviously the tide has been coming in every year. And in fact, the one thing that COVID has done is it has brought more elderly people online in various ways. And the technology is getting more user friendly, and older people, well, they weren't so old, a few years ago when they were still, when they were introduced to technology. So their skills are getting better. And I think, as I say, the tide is coming in on that. But on the technology side, we do have to get and that's why we're working with Globant, a leading global technology company. The UX has to be really, really good here. It has to be, the navigation has to be really user friendly, and that's one of the key selling points of our platform. Yeah, so I hope I've answered your question.
Just a follow-up question, if you allow me. You are targeting people over 50. Is that correct?
That's correct, but
I would be even a customer of yours. My
I'm
question
almost my own customer at this stage.
my question is, do you think the needs of people between, let's say, 50 and 65 or even 70 are the same as people from 70 to 85?
No, they're not. And the truth is, there's possibly 2.5 generations, that are potential customers if you take 50 as a starting point. But just to let you know, the 50-year-old isn't your typical customer. The typical customer, the average is 65. But when I was doing early focus group sessions here and I was talking to experts in the aging sector, they were saying if you want to attract a typical 60-year-old, you say it's for over 50s. The real market you're looking at is the retiree market, because, and the name Freebird actually is a play on that, because the reality is, if you're at this age, you're probably free of the kids. If you had kids, you're possibly free of the job, facing retirement or in retirement. You're possibly free of the mortgage. You're possibly freer than you've been ever in your life. And yet there aren't that many opportunities. So I think, it's a case of really getting the marketing right to appeal to that aspect of people, that the world can open up for you. And obviously it's a big challenge in COVID right now, but the narrative coming out of COVID is, we're setting free the birds, giving older people the wings to fly again. And I think there's a real opportunity to bounce out of the pandemic when the time is right.
Okay, my point is only that perhaps, the elderly market is so huge that you may find completely different needs and things like that, and perhaps it would be worse to segment a little bit more, and you will find perhaps distribution ways that are different, even type of services that are different and things like that. I don't know if this market from 50 over is not too big, and there is a risk to lose the focus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as we evolve, there's definitely room to segment that. But as I say, right now, the sweet spot for us is probably the mid 60s, you know, and certainly, and the average 70% of our people are within kind of 56 to 69. That is the predominance of our customer base at the moment. Thank you.
Super, thank you very much, everybody. Brian, you have a question?
Yeah, if you don't mind, very quickly, Juliana, just
sure.
One thing that came to mind, Peter, during this is it's a particularly vulnerable population group. We've started to see some of the behind the scenes at Airbnb recently, where they're spending tens of millions every year doing, you know, paying off people not to talk about what happened to them in their Airbnb in the media. And we've seen, you know, different assault cases and a variety of other things. You're opening up an even more vulnerable population to potential risk. And I didn't hear anything about safety really in your presentation. So it'd be interesting to hear what you're thinking along those lines.
Certainly, we're very aware of it. And I think trust and security again will be essential to our success here. And so already, even at the scale we're at, you know, we have beyond industry standards in terms of the onboarding process. It's mandatory that you provide. But first of all, you have to pay to be a member, so you have to go through a process to get through the gate of paying, and there's a de-verification that's done through Stripe. You have to upload a copy of your passport or driver's license, and that has to be verified. If you're becoming a host, we have an onboarding interview with you to take you through, well, to get to know you a bit better, but also take you through the steps involved in hosting. We also, there's a few other things, I suppose, around contacts and verifying contact details, but we also have a buddy system, which is unique to address exactly the point you're making, because there are people, particularly maybe on the older side of the spectrum, where they might love the concept of the Freebird Club, but they might be a bit concerned. Their family members might be a bit concerned about it. So we have a buddy system whereby the Freebird member can nominate usually a younger member of their family who can be a buddy, and that buddy will have limited access to the activities on the website, such that, say, if your dad or my dad are booking a stay with each other, and we're buddies, you'll get notified that your dad has been contacted by my dad. If there's a booking proceeding, you get details of that, and likewise, I would get that on for my dad. So there's a way of a kind of a benign oversight from other family members, and it's not mandatory because we want to empower older adults. We don't want them to feel like they need to be minded, but it's there if anyone wants it. It's a voluntary added feature.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Brian.
Just be careful about putting in too much that actually restricts your growth as well.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a challenge.
Super, thank you so much for your questions. And thank you very much, Peter, for your presentation. And
thanks
now,
everybody for the questions, I appreciate it.
And now we are ready to hear what's on the menu at the Mobile World Congress. Yo, hi. We see you walking around. Please unmute yourself. She's currently at the fair in Barcelona.
So sorry, everybody. I have to nip outside so I can take my mask off to do the presentation. It's a busy day for me today. Hi, everyone. Shall I start sharing my screen?
Yes, that would be lovely. Perfect. We can see.
Is everything okay? And you can hear me okay?
Yes, everything is perfect.
Okay. 2 seconds. Just make sure I'm okay to sit here. Sorry about this. I'm representing Spain today at Mobile World Conference, so I can't turn down both these opportunities, so I'm doing both together. So let me start by explaining Menu del Dia app. Menu del Dia is a traditional way to eat out in Spain dating back to 1965. My app started as a way to help a group of friends easily decide how to eat, and quickly grew from Spain, from Ibiza in Spain to mainland Spain, gaining 65,000 users in its first year. Traditionally, restaurants display the menus on chalkboards or outside for passers-by to see. Menus on the app are updated daily, bringing the chalkboard to the palm of users' hands. Since the pandemic began, we have gained 155,000 new users as people embrace digital menus.
Gil, may I quickly interrupt? Now we see the next slide. I was wondering if you were already progressing.
No.
Sorry. Very good.
Due to the COVID pandemic, we helped our clients by digitalizing their menus using QR codes. This brought a lot of new users to the app. In Spain alone, we have gained 150,000 new users in the past 12 months. We have also gained 250 new restaurant clients. Our digital menus have been scanned over 260,000 times, and our app has been used 1.5 million times in the past 12 months. We have managed to retain all our clients, but 99% of our clients have signed up for another year, and we are currently implementing a subscription service using ChargeBee, who have kindly provided it for our first 2.5 million in revenue will be of no charge by ChargeBee. We are solving a simple problem that I had myself. I used to drive around looking at the local menus and texting them to my friends, just trying to decide where to eat. And Menu Del Dia app just solves this problem. Due to user demand, we increased the menus by adding a la carte, tapas menus. There's various filters on it now, like by the sea, kids eat free. We have really expanded on the original idea, but I keep, in Spain, we are keeping it called Menu Del Dia. As we expand through Europe and into Latin America, we will use our brand Venues with Menus. Paper menus are mandated to be replaced in Spanish restaurants. So our digital menus are here to stay. Due to clients asking, we have added a commission-free online food ordering service. We know there's a lot of competition out there, like Uber Eats and Just Eat. It's not a market that we've seen ourselves get into, but if our clients need it and they can't afford to pay the high commissions, it's easy for us to implement the technology into our app, so we have done so. Our business model is simple. We charge the restaurants 20 euros per month to stay on the app, whether it's just to be on the app, whether it's to use our digital menu QR code, or they can also add the commission-free online ordering to do takeaways and deliveries. We are hoping and aim to get 10% of the market in Spain. As you can see from the figures in front of you, that would bring us in 90 million a year. We are in revenue. We have over 300 clients, and in 2019, we were active in 14 countries. There is competition out there, but for example, if you search Google for Menu Del Dia or where to eat, you get millions of results, and it's very time consuming. My app users stay on the app an average of 1.5 minutes, and they've decided where to eat, and they're on their way to the restaurant. Our menus are updated every day, which I don't know any other restaurant guide that does that. And we give full back office support 24/7. There's no setup fee, there's no hidden charges. We just charge 20 euros per month. We have a go-to-market strategy ready and have agreed a digital acceleration program with Google. We have also agreed a partnership with CHD Expert, which has a database of 9.2 million restaurants. We want to increase our brand awareness. We are going to help with the Restart Tourism campaign, and obviously increase our social media posts, etc., with investment. We are here today representing Spain at Mobile World Conference, and we represent them and have their support at every technology event in Europe. Our aim is to, last year we grew by 350%. Our aim is to keep on growing, and we hope to get to around 5 million users by 2025. As I said before, we will be using two separate brands, Menu del Dia, which is well known in Spain, and Venues with Menus, which we'll use in Europe and other countries. We have a board ready to go, and we have a good team ready to go. We're just sort of riding this pandemic and hoping that it will be over soon, but we are really happy with the numbers that we've had. And that's my presentation, and I hope you have some questions for me.
Thank you very much, Joe. And all the best to the conference and further meetings you will have.
Thank you.
Here's a question for you. Sebastian, yes.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. My question would be, you said you update the menus daily. How does this updating process work, and how does the restaurant actually push the updates into the app?
At the minute, sorry.
Yeah. So the second part would be, what kind of hardware do the restaurants need, and how do you integrate in cash registers, and how does the whole payment process work?
We haven't integrated with cash registers yet because we've not been asked by our clients. If our clients ask us for things, we will add new technologies. We actually update the menus ourselves. I did have a data input team based in India prior to the pandemic, but to cut costs during the pandemic, I've took it on myself, and I do it myself every day. There is the ability for restaurants to upload them themselves, but the app is like my baby, and I like to just make sure the content is good every morning. It literally takes me 2 hours at the minute. So until we start expanding, I will keep doing it myself, and then I will be bringing back my data input team to deal with it afterwards.
But how do you know that the menu changed?
Well, they send me them through WhatsApp, they send me them through Facebook, the clients. There's a number of ways. We make it so easy for our clients, whatever's easy for them. Sometimes they just take a photograph of the chalkboards and send it to me by WhatsApp. So it's a simple solution, and we try to keep it as simple as possible for both the users and the clients.
Okay, thank you.
More questions, comments, ideas?
I'll ask a question.
Thank you, John.
Strangely enough, I was out for dinner with my family on Saturday night for the first time in I can't remember how long. And we were presented with a solution like this, which I take it because I was in Dublin, wasn't your solution.
No, but we are in parts of Europe, the UK. We're not in Dublin yet. There is a lot of solutions for the QR code digital menu, which I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That is just an extra we added to our app because the clients asked us for it. It's not exactly what we're about. It's just one of our features. It's helped us a lot through the pandemic because we've gained 250,000 hits to the app through our digital menus. But there is companies that just supply you with a digital menu. Our app is different, and because we work as a web app as well as from the app stores, there's no need to download anything. You go into a restaurant, if there's a QR code in there, you scan it, the menu pops up. You can download our app from the app stores, but it's mainly to show you what's available in different cities. My slogan is "Eat like a local in any city." So if you're in Barcelona today, like I am, You just go on, it works through GPS, and you can see, and you can go and see what menus are available in the area. Prior to the pandemic, we were in 14 countries. We had an office in Brazil, which we hoping to open up again when the time's right, an office in New York, and we are based in Ibiza in Spain. We have clients in every region of Spain, which is what we concentrated on this year just due to COVID.
I can't quite place whether it's the Barcelona or the Madrid accent, is it?
It's a Belfast accent.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the issue is that, I mean, this is an ideal solution for COVID, but how are you going to defend your market?
Oh no, COVID, we worked for 3-4 years before COVID. We'd over 1 million views to our app before COVID hit and 10,000 users a day. This is a solution to help you find where to eat. It's not brought on by COVID. It's been in place before the pandemic began. As I said before, it did help us a bit because people are wanting digital menus and they're embracing technology more. But I enjoy helping most of my clients have been running restaurants for 20-30 years and they don't have a clue about technology. So I enjoy helping them clients more than the big brands that, like, for example, STK that we have on board, or the beach clubs or the hotels. People are embracing the technology and the digital menus now, which it has helped me. But yeah, we were fine before COVID. We were doing quite well. It stopped us growing, if anything, because I concentrated on Spain, whereas before COVID, I was in 14 countries.
Okay.
Questions, comments?
Yes, from my side. It's a great idea. Really like it. But in the implementation of your strategy, how are you going to make sure that you can penetrate the market? If I look at Madrid, you have 7 places. In Barcelona, you have 7 places. And how are you going to take over Madrid, or are you going to take over Barcelona?
Well,
I think you are a bit all over the place, and not really nowhere.
In Madrid, we have 35,000 users, so it won't be hard. We have 42,000 users in Barcelona. We are holding back a bit today because I'm at Mobile World Conference, so I'm just about to update some more menus, which will come live in Barcelona and Madrid in a minute. The menus are updated after 12 noon, so you will see a lot more coming onto it within the next couple of hours. We'll have no problem spreading through Madrid and Barcelona because that's where our main users are. We started in Ibiza, but it's not our biggest clients. I think with 50,000 users in Barcelona, it'll be easy enough to get more restaurants on board.
Joanne, I have a question for you. Do you have a search function in the menu? For example, if I am in Madrid and I would like to have, I don't know, some
there's a search function
on the menu or not?
There's a search function in the app already. A lot of features were added after the second year because of users asking me for them. So there's a search function. There's also a filter function where you can change your prices or your dietary intolerance. If you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, that's all already implemented on the app and is used quite a lot.
And do you have a feedback function from customers?
It's mostly through Facebook, to be honest. I would get feedback and, you know, listening to people talk about it because I started this just for me and my friends. I didn't expect it to grow so much. So I enjoy coming to Tech Events and hearing feedback but also from our clients, our restaurant clients and our users. A lot of my friends use it, so they help me out and help me with things that I might want to add. But I spent 2 years redeveloping the app and adding new features. So I'm not saying that it can't be improved, because everything can be improved, but my app is just a simple solution for a simple problem, and we won't be making it like something very complicated.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for your questions, dear investors. Thank you very much for making time for your pitch, Joe. That was great to have you. And we let you run.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Your
sorry,
meeting.
everybody.
Crossing fingers and stay, successful and passionate as you are.
Thank you so much. Good luck to everybody else today. Goodbye.
Ciao, bye-bye. Thank you, Joe. Excellent. So we are, I think, all ready to recharge. And I'm happy to welcome Guillaume and to hear how we are supposed to do that. Guillaume, give us guidance in how to recharge.
Of course, I will. Thank you, Julian. Let me share my screen. Here you go. Yes, so I'm Guillaume, the co-founder and CEO of Recharge. And today I'm going to present you the first travel platform for people with electric vehicles. So you may have noticed in the past few years, electric vehicle sales are booming, and nearly 1 million of them have been sold in Europe in last year alone. And it's going to increase by 40% every year in the next few years. And you can see now you have vehicles that can travel long distance in every segment. And all the car makers are going to produce and release new vehicles in the next few years in all segments. But there is still a major issue, which is public charging. It has limited coverage, especially for the fast charging. It can be unreliable in terms of accessing or simply being out of order. And because charging is still a very difficult business model, it's very unlikely that there will be a lot of new charger coming up if there is no huge subsidies from the government. And this leads to a really complex pricing systems due to the different stakeholders involved in this charging environment. So which means that in 2021, traveling with an EV is still a sort of adventure, where when you have a regular car and you just want to go somewhere, refueling is just an afterthought. When you have an electric vehicle, you need to plan more carefully anytime you're going somewhere. You need to figure out where you will be charging on the way. And eventually, when you reach a destination, you still need to find somewhere to charge your vehicle. Otherwise, you may be stuck there or on the way a couple of hours the day after when you need to drive off. And to do so, you need to rely on a lot of different sources like navigation app, charging apps, hotels app, and combine all of that anytime you want to travel somewhere. At Recharge, we believe it should not be like this, and we want to simplify all this process and bring all this information into one single interface. So people that take the commitment to drive with a sustainable vehicle can really focus on simply the destination and do not have to go through that. So we decided to focus on what was missing at the moment in this industry, which was destination. So we launched the first hotel booking platform for people with EVs. On Recharge, you can find, it's a booking platform where you can find all the classic amenities you will find on a hotel booking reservation platform. And on top of this, we add reliable sourcing of charging for your vehicle. And this sort of information that are critical for any vehicle owners could be the type of plug, the number of charging points, the pricing of it, and if this is working. So when people go on Recharge, they simply look to the destination want to go, look for a hotel on the list, book it, and they are sure that the day after they can start the day again with the battery fully charged. We have already more than 10,000 hotels in 42 countries out of charging, and 50,000 are located next to public charging, which means that already today you can virtually travel anywhere in Europe or North America with electric vehicles without having any worry about to charge overnight. But we don't want to stop there. what we want is we want to help people from A to Z to plan the trip. So soon we will launch a trip planning tool that help people to really plan the trip and optimize where to charge, whether it's because they want the fastest route, the more economical, or the greenest. And we also want to give them access to the network of public chargers through a payment card that works over there. Our idea, quite simply, is to become the Waze of EVs, a platform where anytime you want to travel somewhere, you can find this information on our platform. Either it's to build itineraries, find a destination, either it's a restaurant or a hotel with charging. And last but not least, because we believe that traveling with an EV is one of the most sustainable way of traveling and beyond the beaten path, let's say, we also want to promote this way of travel, and we want to promote the local actors, which are hotels, resorts that have green credentials, and also put this as a top priority for them. Our market is quite simple. It's everybody traveling with an EV, either for business or for leisure. And this customer base is increasing by nearly 2 million people per year. Our business model is based mostly on selling room nights, which is one of the most profitable segments of the e-commerce business. But we also see a huge opportunity of helping those destinations, those hotels, to get a charging solution that could fit their guests. And there is still 97% of hotels are not equipped, and we want to help them in this. 2 words on the team. Jonathan and myself, I spent the last 7 years working for Daimler building a mobility strategy, and was 10 years ago created one of the first taxi booking app. And Jonathan has more than 10 years experience in software engineering in developing high volume traffic e-commerce platforms. Without any marketing or communication during the past few months, we managed to get nearly 10,000 monthly visitors on our platform, even pre-launch. So we think there is a lot of interest of people, because people having this difficulty of traveling around. We just launched our product, or the booking, 10 days ago, and it's starting very well. And now we are working in different partnerships to get the word out there that there is a platform for people to travel. In parallel, we're going to be running a funding round in the end of Q3. And this will mostly help us to build our marketing strategy, and also build our team to support the product. So I think this was a lot of information, but I think if you have an EV or plan to have one and want to travel somewhere, just go visit Recharge, and I'm sure we can help you with this. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Guillaume. Thank you very much. And we are ready to hear investors' questions, comments. Guillaume, maybe you can finish your presentation so that we can see each other again on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Who wants to start? Brian.
What's one, Julianne? Thank you very much for the presentation, Guillaume. One small challenge I have with this is just longevity. So yes, it's an issue right now. EV hasn't, particularly in Europe, the charging stations haven't been built fast enough for the really rapid uptick that we've seen in EV purchasing over the past couple of years. But that is going to catch up. So we are going to have EV infrastructure in multiple different places, and hotels will either all have EVs, in which case we just revert back to booking.com within a couple of years, or it's going to be a limited market. And I just wonder about the scalability of your business because of that. I wonder if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, first of all, like all EV, so first the public charging, the fast public charging is getting developed, but the issue is it's extremely expensive. So it's not always going to be way more expensive to charge on the way than to charge at destination. So people will always try to find ways to optimize and charge as minimal as possible, and just head to where they can do at a final place. That's one thing. So they need to find this information somewhere. how to optimize the route. The second, and it's true, you can see step by step the big players adding this information, hotels with charger, but there are generalists. And at the moment, when they provide information about charging, it can be anything from one electric plug at the back of the swimming pool to a real charger. And it makes a huge difference for people, because if you have this sort of charger, you're not even sure it's going to work. Or you can spend 40 hours to recharge your Tesla if it's a big battery. So what we're bringing on top of this is not only more information that's critical for charger, but we're also bringing on our interface, which is front, back, and center, focused on EVs, we're bringing information that journalists like Booking.com cannot provide, such as, let's say, public charging around, pricing, availability, and also crowdsource information very specific to charging that they don't get at the moment. And obviously, we believe that it's going to be, we believe charging is going to be like Wi-Fi. And soon every hotel will have to have a charging point. That's why we also want to develop in this sector. And because we are able to bring all the different parts of the journey, which is planning, paying for charging, and staying at the hotel, we can bring this sort of loyalty program where people can, if they book in a hotel via us, they get free charging, either at the way or at the hotel. So it's a huge incentive for people to draw them on our platform.
Super. Yeah. If hotels can put in that level of infrastructure where that makes sense, that's the one challenge. You know, if you have 1,000 rooms in your hotel, you can't have 1,000 EV points.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know if there is another question, but we get a lot of questions regarding, can you reserve the charging points? And we don't think you should have to do this. That's why we're working on providing very cost-effective solutions for hotels where they can have as many as possible cheap charging solutions that work, and they can serve all the customers, maybe not 1,000, but at least a good chunk of them that come with the vehicles to that place.
Thank you.
I would have a question for my understanding, because you seem to have really good information that has a lot of value, but why did you recreate a web page, a booking web page? Why don't you try to bundle the smart information that you own and sell it to Booking directly so that they can use it? And you get, every time that somebody books with Booking, you get a couple of cents on the booking. But the volume would make a completely different business model. I don't understand, why did you reinvent the wheel in doing a booking platform that's already there, that you're not going to be the one that will win the race, but you seem to have really specific information that could help, that is adding value to the business.
No, I mean, it's an excellent question. And indeed, we spent more than 2 years building a platform that is able to compete with Booking.com in terms of functionality or even pricing and availability of hotels. And that's a huge chunk of work we could have eventually saved on doing this partnership. The main issue is when you do this sort of partnerships, you're totally dependent on them. And the first issue is Booking will only offer widgets on your website. So you will be able to display the information from Booking, but you cannot add any additional information on it. They control totally what they want to display to the customers. So you cannot just mix and match what you want.
But that's one of the advice that if you have valuable information, then you have as well some, you can demand your condition and say, that's the way we are going to do it. This is the price. This is the way I want to show it. And that's it. And you don't exclusively, and things like that. And if they agree, okay. If this is your differentiator, in my opinion, it's just about negotiation, about really to make sure that you understand what is the value that you're bringing on the table.
Yes, and that's why we're starting with hotel booking, but our vision is really to be a travel platform where you can do everything you need for EV. Not just simply look for hotels, but really be able to, anywhere you go, looking for local chargers, charge for it, pay for it, save on it and discover new places or activities that you can do while charging. So it's not
so
simply
you're
hotel
working
booking.
with the car manufacturer. So you're going against car manufacturer in that case, because they are offering as well, according to my understanding, they are offering as well a kind of a mapping and a recommendation where the next charging places and so on.
Yes, so car makers, they don't do this. They rely on third parties to provide this information. And we are planning to be one of those third parties that can offer them information about local hotels that have this charging pilot. And depending on the needs of every car maker, we can either provide this, or with, as you know, now you have different technologies such as Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, or basically your app can be in the car and you can control and provide information directly to the user without going through the car maker. And that's where we headed. Because it makes more sense for users to be able to see the live routing on the vehicle, see the live availability of charger as they approach it, and have backup solutions all the way to the final destination. So that's basically the step we head into.
Okay, thank you.
Guillaume, I have a question for you. I think the idea is very good. It seems to me that you are going to a lot of different goals. I mean, the concern of the EV guy saying I will not be able to recharge, it's very clear. But I understand in your presentation that you will go for recharger in the hotels, to presentation in other attractions that are sustainable and things like that. It seems to me like a lot of things to do, and I'm not very sure that you will have the muscle to do everything at the same time. So my advice would be to really to focus on your core competence, because the idea is very good. Because if not, you may not be able to allocate the capital and the resources you have to everything. The world is changing very fast. You are not alone in the arena, and as I say, it seems to be a very good idea, but a little bit too crowded, in my opinion.
No, I fully agree. There is a lot on our plate, that's for sure. I think one of the key differentiators is, you probably know, you have charging apps or navigation apps specialized for EVs. There is a couple of them on the market that already exist. The issue with those platforms is they don't necessarily have a very good business model. They try to have people pay a subscription, a couple of euro a month to have the service, or take a few cents for each charging station. That's one of the issues. Our approach is to finance those features using the revenue from hotels. And we're already discussing with them to provide, so they can provide us this itinerary planning tool. They can provide us this access cards as a white label solution on our platform. So we can really focus on building what we're good at, which is this hotel booking, and add those different features in parallel for the final user and package it into one single interface.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sure, please, John.
What has killed most OTAs is that the difficulty of onboarding hotels. As you get further away from your own country, the costs go through the roof. So most small OTAs use aggregators, and those aggregators won't be able to provide the detail that you require in terms of the EV, etc. You also have most hotels now are paying quite a bit more for their website to be developed to use AI to attract business directly to their website and not to the likes of Booking.com, Expedia, etc., because they're not willing to pay the fees. So how do you overcome those two issues?
So I don't know if you know exactly how the industry is structured, but yes, mostly we rely on what we call bed banks. So bed banks are aggregators of hotels and have pre-negotiated rates, and we pull information from them when it comes from hotels, availability and pricing. But the charging, it's our own unique database that we source from different information, which is also quite tricky part of the business. So what we do is to get immediate coverage, and that's why we can offer more than 200,000 properties in the world, is because we use those middlemen that provide us the rates and are giving us nicely price parity with Booking.com, which is very critical in this market to be able to sell anything. So the work of expanding, like of scaling in different locations, is not so complicated from the hotel side. The most difficult part is the charging, and that's basically our core business.
But I suppose but the issue is that most local OTAs fail to grow because the aggregator takes most of the margin.
So far, I think we're running with a pretty decent margin. So I'm just.
But what are you, if you don't mind me asking, what are you charging?
It's between 10 and 20% on top of the room price.
That's basically what people like Booking.com are. I mean, they're charging between 8 and 24, 25%, and you know, providing a much wider service. And are you linked into channel management systems?
Not yet. Channel management might be when we want to have a more granular approach to the different properties we want to offer.
That's going to be very difficult then for some of the hotels, because if you're not already linked into the channel managers, then
exactly. So getting the 70% first part of the worldwide hotel inventory is quite okay, but then when you want to have this last 30%, which makes the difference, it's getting more and more difficult. So we're discussing also with different technical providers that can help us on getting this without having individual negotiations with those hotels.
Yeah, okay.
Thierry, you unmuted your microphone a minute ago. Do you have a question?
Well, I had a question, but I think Guillaume in between answered it. It was more about the business model and looking at all the things like outside the hotel room. So, but I think I got some response. Thank you.
Super. So thank you very much for your questions, and thanks a lot, Guillaume, for your presentation.
My pleasure.
We are, or we were supposed to now hear Visit Natives, and I received an email early this morning from Anina saying that there's a family emergency she has to attend. So hopefully it has nothing to do with any virus, any mutation, anything that goes in this direction, or it's anything really horrible. That's really unfortunate, but that means that we will stay in the world of mobility. And we will hear Tom presenting mobility with a twist. Tom, the floor and the microphone are yours.
Thank you very much.
Get us going.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? Perfect. Yeah. So, pleasure to be here. I'm Tommaso Gechelin. We are a company next that it's doing electric modular vehicles, and they are especially interesting for tourism because of the reason that you see here. So today we generally have a world in which tourism is based on many vehicles that we generally took to go around the city, to go from one city to another city, or within the city to have a tour of the area. So we have general purpose taxi, bus, shuttles. So we have uncomfortable local and intercity buses. We have crowded and underserviced hop on and hop off city bus. What do we offer? It's a modular solution that can easily adapt to each scenario, even let's say in motion or during the day. So it's something that it's full electric. Each vehicle is full electric. It's modular, so you can dock together multiple units to have more space inside, and you can integrate services. And this is probably for this sector, for the tourist sector, the most important, interesting part, because you can have what you see here, that it's what we call mall in motion. So in each vehicle, you can integrate a specific service, a retail service, that it's going with you through the city. For example, think about the hop on and hop off bus with the targeted services depending on the city, on local food, local objects that you want to sell. If, for example, you can sell wine, you can have AR information displayed in the interiors, you can have a restaurant experience inside, so it's not just moving people, it's really enjoying the stay within this, what we call rooms on wheels. Of course, each vehicle it's equipped with a wheelchair loading platform. So even if it's raised, it's very accessible from everyone. We studied anti-COVID system. So each vehicle, each module of the train can be sanitized cyclically. So you don't need to stop the entire bus to sanitize the vehicle. That it's very differentiating from a typical bus that needs to stop to sanitize. This is the timeline. So as far as now, we have sold 2 units to the city of Dubai. And we are going to be at the Expo 2020 in Dubai in a couple of months. In October, we will be there with a big partner and we will showcase exactly this scenario. So the scenario of retail of the future, retail in motion. And afterwards, the idea is to finalize 3 different funding rounds. The first one, it's the one that we are currently in, and then we have two other rounds that will be generally done for the industrialization and the manufacturing platform. So the customer, it's of course a B2B target. So intercity tourist bus operators, on-off city operators, event and bus shuttles operators, and also service providers, like for example Starbucks, that if they want to embed their service inside the vehicles, they can be very, very interesting. Competitors, of course, we have the one that I already told you, so buses, on-off, general purpose event and shuttles. And for the service, what we have today, it's only static fare stands or mobile vendors truck. So it's something that it's not really the future of retail. In terms of the growth, we are planning to be at 2025 with 900 vehicles per year production. The idea is on 2025 to start really scaling up, doing probably an M&A or an exit with a big automotive company to start scaling up the production on one side, and on the other side to concentrate fully on the services that we can embed inside. The current round, it's 2.5 million. We will split this on the expansion of the structure for manufacturing and the team, the creation of 5 vehicles and more than 5 vehicles actually for a first commercial fleet, and type approval. Because as far as today, we have done a pre-approval, but we can sell vehicles only for fairs and private areas. Once we finalize the type approval, we can start selling these vehicles also on every public road. So the market will skyrocket on that side. These are the details of the vehicles. So you see here at TÜV Rheinland, we were doing EMC testing. These are the real vehicles in Dubai when we brought them, the first 2 vehicles. And just to summarize, it's an electric vehicle. The range is from 100 kilometers to 300 kilometers. In each vehicle, you can fit inside up to 10 people. So it's very roomy, even if it's very short. It's 2.7 meters roughly. So if you put together 5 of these units, you have a 12-meter bus. So like, let's say a common city bus. And that's it. If you have any question, I'm at your service.
Many thanks, Tom. Many thanks. Please stop sharing your presentation, and then we'll be ready to hear investors' questions and comments. Who wants to be first? People are in shock. No, Christian.
Hi, Tom. Is your ID patented already?
We have some patents. We have one design patent already granted, one utility patent that has been approved in US, and it's in process to be approved in other, it's pending in other 10 regions of the world. And then we have 3 major patents that we filed like six months ago, so they are still pending.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Oh, sorry.
Please go ahead.
Sorry. Ricardo, please go ahead.
Oh, apologies. I didn't really understand what is the peculiarity of the technology in your product. What is the real peculiarity, and what kind of IPR do you have? Product, process, or what?
It's the product, the peculiarity, it's the modularity of it. So the fact that the single unit can be used alone, but you can also dock together multiple units, up to 5 units as far as today it's legal. And within the units, the entire space, it's open, so you can fit inside whatever service that you want. Then this is completely unique in the transportation market.
Thank you.
So thank you, Tom, for this presentation. So my question goes more on the competition side of things, because you put a competition on services like the hop on, hop off tourist bus. But for me, I would like to see more information about electric car manufacturer as competition. Is anyone in that area working on such a thing, not on the service side of things? So what about electric car manufacturing? Anyone working on such solutions?
Let's say that the closest competitor that we have is a French company that it's doing some kind of a train of vehicles, but each unit, it's completely independent from each other. So they are just connected together, and you cannot create an open space within these vehicles. So actually, you cannot use that as rooms on wheels. You cannot put services inside. You cannot move people from one vehicle to the other. So it's basically like a train for passengers on the road.
Okay, thank you.
If I may jump in here with weird questions. The first one, what about your governance? What kind of board do you have? Because for this kind of project, it's very important to have a very senior board with a lot of door openers to really engage with the world and the places that the niches that you could sell your product. That's one question. The other question is, since it's the idea that it's not road proof, I was thinking about what about all these places like theme park, airports, places where your product could really be of a great use, because it's flexible, can be recharged, it's based on, it's scalable, so to say, and it can take people around quite easily without having the personnel to be engaged. So it could be really a good business plan for this kind of places as well. If you have any thoughts about it, or if you thought about it.
Yes. Responding to the first question, the founders have 80% of the cap table. And we know, I mean, responding to a question that was in the chat before, that probably in the board we should have someone very strong in the automotive sector opening some doors, because we are still, I mean, small team with mainly technical skills and engineering skills. So having that kind of senior person inside will be very, very helpful. Second, yes, it's true. I mean, as far as today, we are selling vehicles to those markets. But since they are, I mean, the potential of the vehicle, it's very high for roads where you can go at speed. Because otherwise, we have done some research, and the number of vehicles that we we should be able to sell, it's very, very low. I mean, it's not up to our goals. So this is the reason why we should try to finalize the certification process for roadworthiness.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah, can I jump in?
Please do.
How much, and when do you expect to get type approval? What sort of cost are we talking about?
It's roughly €500,000, mainly because we need to create some vehicles that we need to destroy. And it will take roughly 9 to 12 months from the time that we have the money to do it.
That seems quite low. I mean, it's one of the things you always hear about the car companies. It's the killer to get new car companies going because the type approval is so expensive.
Yeah, I mean, we are targeting the let's say small scale, yes, limited number approval for the first part of our approval, because limited number, it will be up to 100 vehicles per nation, per country, and for the next 3-4 years, it's more than enough for us. So let's say the very expensive type approval that will probably take 3-4 million euros, and that will be in the second fundraising round. It can be later on.
And another question, obviously the autonomous factor is a big factor. You're using LiDAR?
I mean, at the moment for this kind of tourist segment, we are not aiming to be autonomous, because it's too difficult to, I mean, it creates too much problem in terms of allowance on even in private roads. We are doing autonomous vehicles only for industrial areas at the moment.
Okay. And just last question, what's your turnover for the first 6 months this year?
How much we have earned?
Yeah.
200,000 euros. Yes, because we have the
Yeah, it's just that you have to always be careful. Your PowerPoint presentation said that you would be turning over 3.5 million this year. So if you're halfway through the year, the obvious question is always have you hit 1.5 million or so?
I have to adjust the presentation because it was from 6 months ago.
Okay.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah, I have a quick one. If you could maybe describe or if I missed that, the sales process, the cycle there for the Dubai sale, how did that work out? I mean, how did it start and work? And
I mean, at the moment we are concentrating on very targeted B2B clients, because we see that specific clients, for example, in retail or in tourist sector, they have some pain points that could be solved by us. So we just target these specific clients. It's not like a mass selling proposition. We are very targeting specific clients.
well, that's fine. That's good that you're targeting. There's still a sales process. So I'm wondering, how does that sales process look? You know, what is the time frame? Can you give a case story how that went, or how you're planning on it going?
Well, for most of our accomplishment as for today, it was related to fairs and big events. So we started contacting the main sponsor of these big events, and then we pitched to the main sponsors. We try to understand their needs, specifically for retail in motion and retail of the future. And this is how we gather our clients as for the moment. But on the other side, I mean, these vehicles has been sold also for urban mobility and goods mobility in industrial areas, as I was told before. telling before. So we are separate commercial strategies depending on the target. Because finally it's a vehicle, it's an electric vehicle, you can put inside whatever you want.
Okay, I understand that. My question is, how long and how tedious is the sales process? In other words, when you start and you pick up the phone and you call to the Amsterdam convention, is it like a week until they sign the contract? Probably not. Or is it a 2-year process?
For public entities, it can take 2 years. For example, in Italy, we have done a pilot project with Padua, and it took two to 3 years from the starting of the deal. Probably it's because it's the first time, but for public entities, it will probably be very tedious. For private entities, like for example, for the sponsors that we will have in the Dubai Expo, it took 6 months roughly from the first pitch to the signing of the contract.
Do we have a final question?
Maybe adding on that, how long does it take to build your pods at the moment, and how are you gonna kind of scale your production? What are the plans for the future here?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it take roughly 1 week with 3 people, because it's mainly assembly of the vehicles, and now it's on a very small scale, so it's almost a prototypal assembly. We are aiming to scale up the production with the 2 facilities. That it's the reason why you see in the timeline the 10 million and 20 million fundraising that will be used to have 2 micro factory that actually increment the production and the production yearly production of the vehicles.
Thanks.
Super, many thanks. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you very much, Tom. And that was it already. Shockingly, the last and final CAST Investment Forum comes to an end, and many thanks for all of you to participate, for supporting the project, the founders, us obviously, in creating something that we would love to call a little community of dedicated investors and founders who are doing everything from morning till evening to reinvent a sector that is under heavy pressure. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your honest reflections and questions, concerns, ideas, and innovations. And I also like to again thank the UNWTO, which has been really an enormous partner for us and really helped to create the setting to pass the word of this investment readiness program that we have been running to their companies, and some of their finalists have been participating and survived it. Yes. And there's a final request from Alessandra Priante, who would love to receive your presentations, dear founders, because obviously they are running several challenges and competitions, and I'm sure they want to know, who to possibly contact to put into a next program. Thank you, dear investors. As I said at the very start, I will take the liberty of sending you the contact details of the presenting founders so that you have the possibility to follow up. And I already received in the chat some indications of interest, so that's promising. So don't be shy. And I know that you have more questions that you would love to address bilaterally. So please do that. And that's all from my side. It was enormous. It was a pleasure working with you, dear entrepreneurs. You really pushed things to the limits and have been blowing our minds here and there. and dear investors for coming back. Many of you have been frequent participants and supporters, and your feedback, your questions were incredibly valuable, not only to the founders, obviously, but for everybody in the CAST project. So thank you very much for that. And maybe, Elena, you want to give the final note, another nice, let's say, no, maybe a ribbon, maybe that is more likely, what we should look at.
Thank you very much, Juliana. I would like to join you in thanking everyone for their support and contributions. CAST is rounding up now at the end of 3 years of activities, and we hope to welcome a lot of you tomorrow at our final event, where we will summarize some of the outcomes and impacts that we have achieved over these 3 years. I would also like to extend a thank you to our host, to you and WTO for supporting us so effectively, and also the investors and startups which have provided us with great experience and insight into what is coming up next. And we hope that as restrictions ease off, there will be plenty more opportunities to do things better, to build back more sustainably and utilize technology as a lever wherever possible. So thank you very much, everyone. And as I said, we look forward to welcoming a lot of you tomorrow at our final event.
Yeah, and a final last big thank you to our host, which is the Bright Week, and maybe some of you will join some of their pitches and events online. You all have the links. The organizers, the Creative Business Network, have been very supportive and making this possible. It always looks the same. It's a Zoom, but in the background there are many, many people who are all working hard to making this possible. And the company that's actually hosting the stream, thank you all, and I wish you a delightful, not too hot day. We will probably be sweating a lot here, but anyhow, stay healthy, stay calm, stay on top, and I'll be back with my requests for presentations and sending you contact details. Take good care and all the best.
Thank you.
Ciao, bye-bye.